We have landed today with a document that is, well, it's less a standard military memo and more a deep philosophical blueprint for achieving excellence under, extreme pressure.
It really is.
We are diving into the command philosophy of the 65th Field Artillery Brigade. They're the Utah National Guard HQ based in Bluffdale.
And they have a powerful nickname, America's Thunder.
That's quite a name to live up to.
It is, and this document, it's a striking read. It's signed by Colonel Cody D. Workman, dated January 20, 2024, and they explicitly call it the definitive guide for the whole organization.
A definitive guide, so not just suggestions.
No, not at all. And what's really revealing is their ambition. They are aiming to be the premier field artillery brigade in the Army inventory.
Okay, that's a high bar.
It is, but their foundation for it.
Mm.
It isn't just technology or firepower. It's this absolute commitment to making sure every single person on their team can become the best version of themselves.
And that reframing that's a profound starting point for a high readiness unit, defining mission success through personal growth.
Exactly.
So, if the individual is the key to the whole group's success, then the structure has to be, flawless. Our source here says this philosophy is built on 4 core tenets.
Interconnected tenets.
Right. And we need to unpack these because they offer some really actionable insights for anyone running a high-stakes team or even just managing their own personal goals.
Precisely. We're looking at a system designed from the ground up to create cohesion, deep proficiency, and combat-ready resilience.
So let's start with tenet 1. It's called lethality in the basics.
Right.
It sounds purely martial, but when you look at their definition, it's really about completely mastering your craft.
It's the mandate to achieve the highest level of technical and tactical proficiency in your job, not just competence, mastery.
A different standard entirely.
They believe they owe that level of dedication to their communities, to the country, and the path is clear. It requires tough, realistic training, but also, and this is critical, it demands individual study between the scheduled drills.
So the burden of excellence shifts to the individual. You're expected to show up to the next event having already learned more on your own.
And it goes even further. Strive for excellence in your current role, yes, but also seek knowledge of the next position up. And proactively train the person who will replace you.
That last point. That's crucial for succession planning in any organization, not just the military.
It is. It ensures the unit isn't dependent on any one person. It guarantees, continuous lethality, regardless of who comes and goes. You are judged not just on your own performance, but on how ready your replacement is.
So here's where it gets really interesting for anyone, I think, in any industry, especially with technology. The brigade insists that proficiency has to balance these foundational, almost legacy skills with the most advanced modern systems.
And the specifics are fascinating. It's the ultimate redundancy plan. They demand that their team can use a compass and a map
The old school way.
just as effectively as a GPS receiver. They have to be able to use charts and darts, which is the manual way of calculating firing data, just as effectively as FATS, the big computer system that does it all for you.
And for those of us who are not in the military, they list other examples. Things like using a collimator or DAP, just as well as a PDF-CS. These are basically the manual analog tools for aligning the weapons.
Right. They are demanding mastery of the manual procedures, just in case the digital systems fail or are jammed. The big lesson here for any field is, technology should supplement your skill, but it can never fully replace your ability to do it by hand.
If the grid goes down, the mission can't just stop.
Exactly.
But mastery requires practice, and practice involves making mistakes.
Right.
So how does a philosophy so focused on lethality and proficiency handle the vulnerability that comes with learning, especially when mistakes can be, catastrophic?
This is the genius of their identity as a learning organization. Colonel Workman makes this highly unusual statement. He says, "I will forgive all honest mistakes once with the understanding that we all use them to learn and grow."
Wait, I have to challenge that a bit. This is field artillery. If a mistake happens with coordinates, the consequences can be immediate, severe, potentially loss of life. How is that? How do you realistically balance forgiving a mistake against the zero-sum nature of their mission? That sounds like an incredibly high-stakes management challenge.
It is. It is a phenomenal management challenge, but it shows a strategic understanding of performance and, frankly, innovation.
How so?
To be the premier unit, your people have to operate at the edge of their competence. They have to innovate. They have to adapt. If every honest mistake made in training carried the threat of career ruin.
Then nobody would risk anything.
Exactly. The team would retreat to the safest, most predictable, and ultimately least adaptable tactics. They'd stagnate.
So psychological safety isn't some soft benefit. It's actually a critical component of being lethal and effective.
It is a mechanism for lethality. It fosters a culture where you can give and receive tough, honest feedback without fear. And that leads to rapid collective learning.
Which connects directly to the next tenet, I assume.
It does. Because that learning only happens if you fundamentally value the person who's taking that risk in the first place.
Which brings us smoothly to tenet 2. People. Always. And this seems like more than just, take care of your soldiers. It's a statement about where resources go.
It's a firm mandate. The strength of the organization is their people. And it is a direct quote. No priority supersedes investing time and resources in our people.
That's not just rhetoric.
No. It means every single decision, budget, scheduling, equipment, it all has to be filtered through the lens of its impact on personnel, on their well-being and their ability to do the mission.
So when you commit resources like that, you're basically accepting a higher operational cost now for better human capacity later. What does that look like in practice?
It leads directly to innovation through diversity. The philosophy says they thrive on the fusion of diverse talent and experience.
So diversity isn't just a goal, it's a tool.
It's a problem-solving tool. It's why they state, explicitly, that they have zero tolerance for discrimination. They just can't afford to lose the unique contributions of any single team member.
And this isn't just about today, it's about the future. They see themselves as being in the business of building ethical leaders. Leaders who are an example worth emulating for the next generation.
Right, and to do that, leaders have to be intentional. The philosophy mandates specific tactics, things like prioritizing structured counseling and informal check-ins.
Just stopping by to see how someone's doing.
Yes. Leaders have to know their teammates well enough, their personal situations, their stressors, to recognize immediately when they are just not okay.
The most provocative part of this tenet for me is how it defines a leader's legacy.
It's powerful, isn't it?
It says your legacy is defined by the cohort of ethical leaders that you mentored. That completely shifts the metric of success away from your own personal achievements.
It does. It puts it squarely on the growth of others. It's a measurable metric for influence that really any team leader in any industry could adopt. You invest differently in people if that's your goal.
And since this is a National Guard unit, the role of family isn't just an afterthought, it's built into the structure.
That's right. They recognize that the strength and resilience of their soldiers comes directly from their families. So they mandate that every unit must have an active family readiness group, an FRG.
And the families have a real voice.
A real voice. The family perspectives, through the FRG, have to be integrated into all major activities and planning. They're treated as key stakeholders, not just an external support system.
Okay, so we've got technical mastery and organizational structure. Tenet 3 deals with the individual's internal resilience, balance, MEPS. It's a very structured framework.
It is. MEPS stands for mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. And the goal is the intentional striving for excellence and harmony in all 4 domains each day. Right. They admit that in high-stress times, one might take priority, but the daily intentional effort across all 4 has to remain. This is how they frame becoming the best version of themselves.
So this breaks down the sort of abstract idea of wellness into 4 things you can actually do. What do they mandate for each one?
Okay, so for mental, it requires focused reading and study, doctrine, history, geopolitics, but also just cultivating a new skill or a hobby. The point is active intellectual expansion, cognitive flexibility.
Then there's emotional resilience.
For that, they detail internal maintenance. Things like self-reflection, using positive affirmations, and actively building and fostering healthy relationships, both personal and professional.
Managing your inner life.
And your support network. The physical domain is the most straightforward for a military unit. Consistent, intentional physical exercise every day, becoming that warrior athlete.
And the spiritual domain. I found this part handled with impressive flexibility.
It is. It's defined as universally important, but also entirely personal. The mandate is simply to devote structured time each day to centering yourself.
And that can mean anything.
Anything. Meditating, visualizing, praying, reading scripture, gathering with people who share your beliefs. The focus is just on anchoring your inner life and reducing that existential stress, whatever your practice is.
Now, here's the real insight of Tenet 3, I think, the compound effect.
Yes. The philosophy says the magic happens because when you increase one MEPS domain, it has a compound effect of bolstering all the others.
So it's a systems approach to being a person.
It's a holistic systems approach to human performance, exactly.
Yeah.
You improve your physical health, you become emotionally stronger, maybe more focused mentally. It creates a positive feedback loop, and that doesn't just help the individual, it makes the whole team stronger.
Okay, so we've built up from individual mastery to investing in the person to their inner resilience, which leads to the final tenet, which ties it all back to the organization itself, culture of excellence.
This one requires the current team to really internalize that they are standing on the shoulders of giants. They have a duty to protect this celebrated history and their reputation for creating, quote, some of the finest leaders in the Army.
That's a serious responsibility. How do you make something that abstract pride, history, into a daily discipline?
You make it actionable through required knowledge. They have a duty to know the history, the lineage, the honors of all the units in the 65th FAB. It's not just optional trivia.
So understanding the historical standards sets the floor for today's performance.
It's the non-negotiable floor. They have to take pride in what they call their sacred membership and make sure every single action upholds that high standard.
So at a decision point, whether to cut a corner or skip an inspection, the weight of that history is supposed to be the internal check that makes you choose the harder, better path.
Exactly. The culture is enforced by internal peer accountability and that historical mandate. You are always measuring yourself against the legacy of the organization.
It's powerful. The document closes with Colonel Workman saying it's his humble honor to serve the soldiers and families. It's signed Cody D. Workman, COL, FA, commanding. The fact that the highest authority connects his rank directly to this philosophy, it reinforces how serious this all is.
And when you synthesize the whole thing, you see a masterclass in strategic leadership. It's a highly disciplined, mission-focused organization that defines its success through emotional resilience, psychological safety, and comprehensive human development.
That combination of rigid standards from lethality in the basics with the human-centric focus of people always.
It creates this powerful self-correcting engine for constant improvement.
So what does this all mean for you listening? If you run a department or manage your household or even just lead yourself, this framework is surprisingly adaptable.
It is. You could just substitute, say, high proficiency in your current field for lethality in the basics, and then apply those MEPS domains to your own goals.
And you should really consider the tension in this philosophy for yourself. Which of these four tenets, lethality in the basics, people always, balance, or culture of excellence, provides the most immediate actionable step for you?
You have to ask,
Yeah.
are you over-relying on the digital GPS of your industry while letting the foundational skills your map and compass atrophy?
That intentionality is key. And if we bring this back to the big picture, let's revisit that incredible definition of leadership legacy from Tenet 2. If your ultimate professional legacy is defined as the cohort of ethical leaders you mentored, the group that follows you, that raises a pretty important question. Who are you intentionally mentoring today, outside of just performance reviews, and what lasting example are you building through that daily practice?